Hello everyone. I hope you're all doing very lovely and fantastically. My name is Benny with an exclamation point at the end. I made a series ranking every single episode in Game of Thrones, and it ended up taking the entire year pretty much. The way things ended just seemed very incomplete in a way because the final two seasons were unbearably disappointing. And I feel like it would be poetic justice to start this year off with Game of Thrones and now to end it with one final Game of Thrones video. So I guess that being said, I'm literally just giving my straight up thoughts, no planning, no nothing, of how I would rank every season of Game of Thrones. There's definitely a difference between single episodes and entire seasons. This is gonna be a chill video. These are my opinions. Obviously, there will also be spoilers ahead. I'm gonna rank from least favorite to most favorite. Let's start with 8th place, my least favorite season, to no one's surprise, season 8. I mean, we all can collectively agree that season 8 is a train wreck and a half. It was such a disappointment. All of these stories and characters being built up for 7 seasons now just completely fall apart here and meet their demise. It's very hard to watch unfold. Some of my least favorite moments include Dany burning down King's Landing. Probably my least favorite moment in the entire show, when they tried to build up to the Mad Queen arc. It just came off as incredibly forced and rushed. The Long Night, the battle with the White Walkers, was incredibly disappointing. They completely messed up Jon Snow's character arc. They just did not know how to satisfyingly end that conflict with the White Walkers. A bunch of character derailments, like Jaime's especially, really pissed me off. The first episode and the final episode of the season were two of the most boring, sad, uneventful episodes I've ever seen in television history. Like, truly, Dany's death seemed so unsatisfying. Bran's being king was incredibly unsatisfying. Overall, season 8 is just a season filled with a bunch of empty promises, unsatisfying conclusions, horrible writing. Clearly, the show writers had no clue what the to do with this show and how to end it. At number 7, I decided to put season 7. One thing that surprised me when I watched the series back, I realized that there is a massive quality break in between season 7 and 8. I'll give season 7 that. It still managed to understand most of its characters. Like, for one thing, I think Jaime is still a very likable, solid character, and his character growth is heading in the right direction, especially near the end of the season. Theon was good. I still really like Cersei a lot. She's still a very villainous character. The Queen's Justice is actually a really nice, well-formatted episode. I mean, Olenna's confession, Cersei getting revenge on the Sand Snakes. There are some good moments, but there's also a crap ton of bad moments. Season 7 is really just lacking when it comes to good dialogue. It has a lot more contrived moments compared to its predecessors. The entirety of Beyond the Wall, so beyond contrived. I hate that D&D felt the need to dumb down the characters so much. I think the last 2 episodes really took the show into a very bad direction. Beyond the Wall and The Dragon and the Wolf really dragged down the season a lot. I also think Storm's End is not a good episode. The other episodes are okay though, I will admit. Like, a lot of them are pretty intolerable with bad writing still, but they are following the story still. Nothing else really to say about season 7. It still understands its characters to an extent. They needed more episodes. It's better than season 8. For that, it ends up in 7th place for me. Alright, so for number 6, it's season 5. I think season 5 had really no concrete story to follow. This season just seems so off compared to the others, including season 7 and 8. It's so lost and confused in its storylines, and because they shove 2 books into one season, it really shoots itself in the foot because there is no direction with this season. The only 2 subplots here that have some sort of direction and motive is the the King's Landing, Cersei's downfall subplots, and the Night's Watch subplot, which are, in my opinion, the two best. Every other plot in season 5, though, is so boring. The Meereen subplot is really a big example of a plot that has no direction. I guess Tyrion meeting with Daenerys was a really cool moment. And then you have the Stannis plotline, which was a complete and utter disaster. It was solely there just to get rid of Stannis Baratheon. And then even Bran. Bran is not in the season at all. And don't even get me started on the Faceless Man. Season 5 completely kills and destroys Arya, her character and her story. I know I'd said a lot of really negative things about season 5, but I think that the Night's Watch and Jon Snow subplot is fantastic. I mean, you have Hardhome, which is so brilliant. You have his death in Mother's Mercy, which was so chilling to watch. Then you have Cersei, who was such a standout for me here. Her going from top of the world in episode 1 to the Walk of Atonement, and the finale was brilliant to watch. I was so invested in her downfall. I should also mention the Dorne subplot. That was a disaster. Sansa and Littlefinger, disaster. So season 5 just struggles from being boring and confused with its plot lines. I was really debating between two seasons. I decided that it would be fitting to place season 6 in the 5th spot. I will give season 5 credit for allowing season 6 to pick up the pieces and give us some of the most satisfying conclusions to storylines in the show's history. I mean, Battle of the Bastards and The Winds of Winter are two of the most well-known, critically acclaimed episodes in the show's entirety. Do I think that at times it deserves that much praise? Yes and no. I think if we're talking about the cinematography and just the visuals of the Battle of the Bastards, I agree, one of the best episodes ever. Story-wise, dialogue-wise, not so much. The Winds of Winter, top 3 best moment in the show. Blowing up the Sept, Jon Snow revealed as Aegon Targaryen, the ending where Daenerys heads to Westeros, all fantastic moments. What about the rest of the season, though? What do you remember from season 6 that isn't the final 2 episodes or the door? Nothing much, really. I just think season 6 is a very mixed bag overall. The best example I can give is Theon supporting Yara's claim to the Iron Islands. Great moment, super great dialogue, and then Euron comes in, makes 3 cock jokes, gets the crown, and they all f*** off. And then you've got the Meereen subplot with Tyrion, which is unbearable to watch sometimes. Arya, also unbearable. Apart from the play, Jon and Sansa reuniting is good, but at times their dialogue together is so f***ing annoying. So I did enjoy season 6. I think it's still a good, solid season. It relies a lot more on big production value rather than storytelling and dialogue, which I guess I'm fine with. It deserves to be the best rated season amongst the final 4 seasons. Of course, the first 4 seasons are going to be in my top 4. Coming in at 4th place, we have season 2. I really struggled putting season 2 above season 6 for some reason, but what really made me decide to put season 2 above season 6 was Blackwater. Blackwater is literally my favorite episode in the series. Plus, season 2 is still a very well-written season. The highs are incredibly high. I mean, we have Arya and Harrenhal, which is so entertaining. The death of Renly Baratheon, Battle of Blackwater. This is the best Stannis plotline for me, his season 2 plotline. They build up to the Battle of Blackwater so well. The finale, the release of Jaime Lannister, Tyrion ruling over King's Landing, the rise of Tywin Lannister, Jon over the wall, meeting Ygritte. These are great moments in season 2 and make it as engaging as it is and as good as it is. There are some very slow moments, that being said. I think Koth is very slow and it really doesn't go anywhere until episode 7, A Man Without Honor. The Theon plotline is really good, to be honest, until we reach the end of his storyline and it kind of just gets brushed off a bit, you know. I don't know what else to say about season 2, to be honest. I just think it's an okay, good season. It is home to my favorite episode ever, though. show, so I really couldn't justify putting it any lower. I think that that's why this season suffers low-key, is because you can tell they just put all of their budget into the Battle of Blackwater. So season 2 is 4th place for me. Before we get to the top 3, I just gotta say this was excruciatingly hard to rank. These are the best of the best for me. Coming in at number 3, we have season 1. I freaking love season 1 a bunch. It is a fantastic, strong, incredible way to start a damn show. Season 1 understands the balance between fantasy and realism. It is such a different season compared to the rest. I think that the low budget really, in a way, helps it a lot. It has such a mystical, medieval vibe to it. Book 1 was adapted incredibly well. They lean into Ned Stark's detective work so heavily here, and it works so well. Him being built up as this narrator only to kill him off in episode 9, wild. Robb calling the banners and preparing to fight the Lannisters. Tyrion getting captured by Catelyn. Daenerys with the Dothraki. Love Jason Momoa. The incest between Cersei and Jaime being exposed. Robert in general. There's just something about season 1. The payoff when we see those damn dragons on Daenerys' shoulders. Night's Watch is so much fun here. Yeah, I love season 1. I wish I could have put multiple seasons in the first position, but there's just no knocking down my top 2 seasons, to be honest. Unironically, the 2 seasons that I consider to be the peak of Game of Thrones are in my top 2. Putting one above the other was really hard for me. Rather than individual episodes, I really had to look at the seasons as a whole. Which one has the best story being told? At the end of the day, I just had to put season 3 in second place. I think the story told in season 3 is slightly weaker than the one being told in season 4. Season 3 is phenomenal though. Daenerys is arguably the biggest highlight here. Her conquering debut is so much fun to watch. Seeing her journey through the slave cities, getting the Unsullied, watching her dragons grow, getting Daario Naharis and Ser Barristan on her team. I have to say, this is far and away my favorite plotline of hers. Then you have King's Landing. Fantastic. We get introduced to the Tyrells, who are so much fun. They make things so much more interesting. Tywin Lannister has a tight grip on King's Landing. Great villain. Joffrey is terrible. Cersei is terrible. And then there's Jon and the Free Folk. The relationship between him and Ygritte. Bran arguably peaks here. Us getting introduced to Jojen and Mira was really fun, and it added a lot of change. Arya's with the Brotherhood for the first half. Theon and Ramsay torture scenes are horrible. And then Robb Stark and Catelyn Stark. The end of the Stark family, essentially. It is done to perfection. Seeing Robb mess up a bunch of times here, seeing all that slowly building up to the Red Wedding, genuinely, I don't think you can ever get quality TV like that ever again. Reigns of Castamere is the best episode of season 3. Most well-known moment. I could go on, but we gotta talk about season 4. My favorite season of Game of Thrones is season 8. My favorite season is season 4. Season 4 is far and away the strongest story told. Kicking things off with Joffrey's death was genius. As a whole, it is a perfect season. Episodes 5 through 9 is the best collection of back-to-back episodes in the show's entirety. There's just so much happening in season 4. First of his name, where Jon Snow defeats the mutineers, Laws of Gods and Men, Tyrion's trial, and Shae's confession and Tyrion's breakdown, followed by Mockingbird, which has Littlefinger pushing Lysa through the moon door and Oberyn agreeing to be Tyrion's champion, followed by episode 8, The Mountain and the Viper. Oberyn's head gets crushed in and Tyrion is sentenced to die, followed by The Watchers on the Wall, one of the best, if not the best battle in the show's entirety. That beautiful shot where Jon has Ygritte in his arms arms. I mean, Tyrion killing Tywin and Shay, so chilling. Peter Dinklage is a phenomenal actor. It's a freaking insane season, and I love it. And it's my number one. So yeah, there you have it. That is how I would rank every season of Game of Thrones. In general, you know, I really have a love for the show, and it's been such a great journey going over this show. This is really it for Game of Thrones for now, I think. Apart from that, there's really not much more to say. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this video, you can like and subscribe if you want to. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.